Good morning. Thanks for joining me today on part 1 of 4 of this Introduction to Yoga series. Today we're going to be doing an introduction to a sun salutation. This is traditionally something you do in yoga at the start of every practice, every morning. We're going to do it together today to show you some basic moves that will reoccur throughout yoga class. So when you're ready, it's just going to be a 20-minute class. You don't need any equipment besides a mat, and even if you don't have a mat, make sure you're on a soft surface. If you want to fold over a towel or a blanket to protect your knees and your joints, then you're welcome to do so. If you're ready, we're going to start by stepping to the top of our mat. So for me, that's going to be over here. You're then going to bring your feet about hip width distance apart. So making sure that your heels are really sort of pushing into the ground. Your feet are parallel. You're going to stand up nice and tall with your hands by your sides. And as you breathe in, you're going to notice how you're filling your body with breath. So normally breathing is a little bit of a reflex, which is a great thing. But in yoga, we really want to bring awareness to conscious breath. You know, the feeling of our lungs expanding and of them emptying themselves of air. So we're going to take a couple of breaths where I would just like you to breathe into all 4 corners of the torso. So your torso expands this way, this way, this way, this way, all kinds of ways. So just breathe in and fill the body with air, fill the belly with air. And as you breathe out, notice how all 4 of those corners empty themselves of air. So repeat that, just breathe in, really filling every part of the chest with air. This may feel a little weird at first, but the more you practice, the more you get used to sort of sending breath to places where you don't usually. And exhale again, really emptying everything out. Breathe in again. And breathe out. And now we're going to unite the movement of our arms to our breath. So as you breathe in, you're going to bring your arms up in a circle above your head. And as you breathe out, you're going to bring them back down. And you can take up some space here. You can stretch into those shoulder joints. Just repeat that, breathing in, looking up to your hands, and breathing out, bringing them back down again. Obviously I'm knocking into my window here, but at home make sure that you've got enough space to do the movement fully. And as you breathe out, bring them back down. So already we're kind of introducing a little bit of movement into the spine, into the upper back, into the arms. And we're uniting our movement to our breath. And this is something, for me at least, that makes yoga so immersive, is that you're not just breathing because you have to breathe to get on with your day. It really helps you slow down the day if you focus on your breath right now and on what your body is currently doing. So we're going to do that one more time. We're going to breathe in. And this time, as you breathe out, can you think about sitting back on your heels? A good way to check this is to lift your toes off the floor a little bit and fold forwards so that your tummy meets your thighs and your hands get closer to the floor. Now, we haven't got straight legs. We've still got our feet parallel to the floor. Our knees are above our ankles. And you can just let the head go. So if it's early morning for you, this may feel a little bit rusty, I guess, for want of a better word. And that's perfectly normal. We're going to do a couple of rounds of sun salutation, and you'll feel yourself waking up and loosening up as we continue through the practice. So your head is loose, your tummy is towards your thighs, you should be feeling a stretch in the lower back. And now we're just going to breathe in and straighten up our heads. So can you see how I'm looking forwards? My fingertips are still on the floor, just my fingertips, and my knees are still bent. And as I exhale, I'm going to let everything go again. So this pose is called forward fold, and it's one that we will return to very regularly in yoga practice. It's a great release for the lower back, for the hips. It challenges your strength and your balance a little bit. And you should feel a stretch as well in the upper back. So now you're going to breathe in and roll up. And make sure you're leading from the chest. Bring your arms above your head. Touch them together. And as you exhale, open them up. And bring your palms to your heart. So you're bringing your hands together like this. Call this Namaste hands. Bring them over so that your thumbs are hovering just above your sternum. Standing nice and straight. So we're now going to do this again. So release your arms to the side, breathe in. Breathe out and fold, dive, whatever you'd like to call it. So your your hands are flat on the floor if you can make it. If not, just wherever's comfortable for you. Let the head go. Breathe in and look up so your back becomes nice and straight. And breathe out, release. And breathe in. Roll yourself up, come back up to standing. Careful not to do this too quickly, otherwise you might get a rush of blood to the head. And bring your hands back to your center, back to your heart. Very good. So we're now going to expand on this a little bit. So you're going to inhale, bring your hands up. Exhale, fold over. And this time, I'd like you to just place your hands on the floor. And you're going to step your right foot back as far as you can get it. So again, if this is early morning, it may be a little bit stiff, and that's absolutely fine. But the main thing to do here is to keep your knee directly above your ankle. This protects your knee joint. And you're now going to drop that knee. So look up, and you should feel a stretch down the front of this right hip. So your hands are flat on the floor, or you're up on your fingertips, whatever's more comfortable for you. And just relax. Think about sort of pushing your hips forwards to really get that stretch down the front of that right thigh. And now you're going to push off of that back foot, and as you exhale, you're going to bring it back so that your feet are parallel. So can you see how putting your weight on one leg and using the other foot for support, that gives us power to move forward. You may think yoga is, I don't know, sleepy, a little bit stretchy, and some of it can be, which is great. But it's also very powerful. It'll build your stamina, your endurance, it'll lengthen your muscles, make them more flexible. So after that little sort of, I don't know, ode to yoga, if you will, you're going to bring your fingertips on the floor, you're going to inhale, look up, exhale, let it go, fold your tummy over your thighs, and as you breathe in, you're going to make your way back up to standing. Touch your hands above your head, bring them back to your heart center. We're now going to do the same thing on the other side. So breathe in, breathe out and fold. Put your weight into your hands and step your left foot back as far as it'll go. Make sure that that knee is in line with the ankle. Drop the back knee and just look up. Look up, push your hips forwards. Really feel that stretch, especially if it's early morning. May feel a little bit rusty again. And then look down at your big toe. place your weight into that front foot and push off that back foot to make your way back to your fold. Breathe in and look forward. Breathe out and release. And breathe in again, making your way up to standing. And touch your heart. Touch your hands to your heart, excuse me. So just take a minute here. Breathe in and breathe out again. And now we're going to do that again, but a little bit different, as always. So breathe in. Breathe out and fold. And now I'd like you to step your feet back so that you're in all fours. So your wrists are directly below your shoulders, your knees are directly below your hip joints, and your feet are pushing flat on the floor. And you've got a nice line running from crown to tail. Now you're going to curl your feet under and push your hips up and back so that you're in almost a little V shape. And you can keep your knees bent for now, especially if this is your first sort of venture into yoga. And you're looking between your shins or between your thighs. You're pushing through those hands, which have got their fingers splayed nice and wide, and you're engaging your shoulders to really push through the floor evenly. And this pose is called downward facing dog, and we will return to this extremely often in yoga. But I remember the first time I did a yoga class, this was impossible, and I generally felt like there was no way this could be a resting pose. But again, the more you practice, the more you build that stamina, the more you can return to these poses and you build on them. That's why it's called yoga practice, not yoga competition, where it's like one shot, one kill. It's not that. So we're going to hold this for a little bit longer. And we're going to breathe whilst we're here. And as you breathe, can you think about almost arching your back, so you're tipping your pelvis up to the sky, up to the ceiling. And now you're going to look between your hands, and you're going to bring the right foot in and the left. And now we're just going to return to that feet parallel stance. We're going to breathe in, look up, breathe out and fold. And as we breathe in, we're going to make our way back up to standing. And bring the hands back down and to the heart. So we're going to do that again with our downward dog. Hopefully now that you know where you're going, you can focus on making it a little bit more fluid and getting a little bit more movement. So breathe in, bring your arms up, breathe out and fold. Place your hands on the floor, step back onto all fours, or if you want, you can go straight to downward dog. Push into the feet, push your head through your arms, keep those knees bent. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, can you roll yourself forward to plank? So if you focus on your pelvis, it's almost doing like a J shape, isn't it? Where it's kind of tipping straight and then moving forward. So you're at the top of a push-up position. You're in one nice straight line. You're pushing through your hands. You should be feeling a little bit of heat. This should be challenging your core. It'll be challenging your legs. And now you're going to place your knees on the floor. And you're going to put your feet flat on the floor behind you. And we're going to go into a little sort of inchworm position. And this is called knees, chest, chin. So your hands are pushing into the floor. You're going to think about reaching your chin and your chest beyond your hands. You're going to stick your bum out a little bit. And you're going to think about going into an inchworm pose. So I'm really looking over the top of my mat, keeping my elbows in as I lower my chest. And now I'm in this very flattering, frankly, inchworm position. And now I'm going to bring my belly to the floor and look up. So can you see how you kind of do like a motion like this? This is a really good sort of transition that again we'll see a lot in yoga, called knees, chest, chin. And now that you're here and that you've looked up, bring yourself back to all fours. However you get there. Tuck your toes under, go back into a downward facing dog. Exhale, keep your knees bent if you like, or if you're feeling warmer you can experiment with straightening your legs. Walk your dog if you'd like to sort of flex through one foot, flex through the other. Notice the stretch in the hamstrings and the calves, but you're still pushing through those hands. And now, because this is our first class, we're going to walk our feet back to the top of the mat slowly, keeping those legs bent. That's quite enough for sort of one introduction. You may be sweating already, you may be cursing, you may be thinking, oh my goodness. So, breathe in, look up, breathe out, let everything go. Breathe in to the top, and breathe out, bring your hands back to your center. So we're now going to do one full sort of sun salutation flow, and then we're going to close the class. So it'll very much be an introduction to yoga. And look, as I've said that, the sun's come out. This never happens in Manchester, so, you know, that's good. Breathe in. Breathe out and fold. So sticking your bum back, your chest is on your thighs. Place your hands into the floor. Step back to plank. And then tip your hips up into a downward dog. Keep your knees bent if you like for now. Then roll over into plank, looking straight in front of you, straight forward. So the neck is an extension of the spine, so don't sort of let it go, don't crunch it, just keep it in line. Lower your knees to the floor. Think about sticking your bum out a little bit, pushing your chest forward, lowering down, and then as your belly touches the floor you look up, and then come back to all fours, back to downward dog. Take one breath here, and then walk your feet back up to the top. And then inhale, look up, exhale, let it go, and inhale, bring your hands above your head, get a nice stretch, and exhale, bring them back down to your heart. So notice how you feel. Notice if you feel a little bit of heat, if you feel a little bit more invigorated than when you begun. And when you're ready, we're just going to take sort of a final mountain pose to notice how we feel. So bring your hands out to the side, feet together or feet where they are currently, so sort of hip width apart, the choice is yours. Step to the center of your mat. And just take a minute to lower your shoulders, to look straight ahead. And to notice how the different parts of your body feel. So your feet might feel like they're really pushing into the ground. You might be a little short of breath. So just acknowledge that. Your hands may be sort of a little bit sticky or sweaty. Hopefully your lower back, your legs, your core feel like they've woken up now. So you can do this practice any morning, any afternoon, any evening of any day, if you need a little bit more fluidity to wake yourself up, or you can do this after a workout if you'd like to stretch. So breathe in. Again, fill all corners of the body, and breathe out. Bring your hands to your heart, and just give yourself a little bow. Be grateful that you made the time to show up this morning. Our time is precious. We've only got 1,440 minutes every day, so what we make with it is our choice. And thank you so much for joining, and I'll be releasing the second, third and fourth parts every next Wednesday in September.